Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. There we go. Alright, we're live, and as you guys can tell by title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be going over object-oriented programming in C++. That said, last stream I did go over object-oriented programming as well. Okay, let me go to my gameplay screen. Guys, I didn't have that big of an intro this time. That said, this is a chat from my last stream because I didn't have time to set a new chat. Let me just say something like, let's say, I'm live, exclamation. Okay, let's see. So you're back on the battlefield, people. And guys, I'm not warmed up yet, so I might not read that nicely. Okay, that said, listen up, chat. This is the moment where distractions and discipline takes the throne. Every second you spend in it is a weapon sharpening it. Okay, you're not just watching someone type code, you're watching a warrior forge logic out of chaos. Steel will never become a sword without being burnt or beaten. Okay, the writer is unknown. Okay, that said, let me say something like, let's say, I want to go over object-oriented programming this stream as well, ... That said, we can start off by reviewing what we did last stream and then maybe move on later. Okay, let's see. And honestly, let me actually open my stream on my phone as well. Yeah, give me a sec, guys. Because I gotta always see if my stream is working or it's lagging. Okay, let's see. Let me go here. Okay, there we go. Let me just keep that there. Okay, maybe mute this up. Okay, good, very good, people. Remember what we begin. So let's hammer that knowledge into steel before we forge more. Last stream we covered the core of object-oriented programming, the idea that instead of just using variables and functions floating around like headless chickens, we group them into classes blueprints that define objects. You created variables, healers, mage, rogues, and even gladiators. Okay, each one encapsulating data like health, mana, stamina, and behavior like the heal method, the attack method, and the rest method. That's the heart of encapsulation. Honestly, is that an actual term when it comes to programming? That said, the first pillar of object-oriented programming, hiding the data inside a class and exposing only what's needed. You also saw how we use a constructor, a special function that runs automatically when an object is created, and how this was implicit like Python self. Honestly, I've not learned about this yet. Okay, then you start something interesting. Wide attack, gladiator, and target, a method where one object interacts with another object. That's the soul of object-oriented programming, objects communicating through methods. Now, before we move on to the next pillars, inheritance and polymorphism, I want you to see how strong your understanding is of classes. Tell people, what are the three main things that a class contains of in C++? Honestly, let's say something like, I don't know, constructors. Okay, and then data members. And what's the last thing? Honestly, I forgot. Let's see. So we needed constructors, data members, and maybe methods. Okay, ... That said, I haven't learned about this keyword, and let me actually add this keyword in a pair of double quotes. Okay, the this keyword, and before we go through that, can I get a instructional based question on... Okay, can I get an instructional based question on a basic question mark? This is just for warm up, and guys, if I can't phrase properly, you guys can whatchamacallit. Yeah, it's because I'm not warmed up. That said, excellent people, your memory still has teeth. Yes, constructors, data members, and methods. That's the holy trinity of a class. You've got the skeleton right. Now let's test your blade with a simple instructional based question before we approach the mysterious this keyword. Okay, so our task, create a class named pet that represents a pet in a game. It should have a string name. Okay, so these are the data memberships. Okay, are they called data memberships? I forgot. Okay, so we have a name, okay, that is a string. We have hunger, which is going to be an integer, and then we have a constructor that sets both values, okay, both of those values, a method called feed with a parameter of food that decreases the hunger by the amount of the food given but never lets hunger drop below 0, a method status that prints the pet's name and current hunger. Okay. Okay, and then in our main function, we create one pet. You can name it anything, feed it multiple times using a loop. Okay, so we're going to be using a loop. Okay, so we can see hunger decreases, print the status each time. Okay, that's it. Let's go sensational ChatGPT here. Okay, and this is the code like from my last stream. I didn't have time to work off stream. So here we go. Howdy, Yash. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete all that, and let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. There we go. So I'll go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces, and then I want to include IO stream. Next up, let's go ahead and read the instructions. So it says to create a class called pets. So let's go ahead and create a class called pets, and then add a pair of curly braces. Inside of my pair of curly braces, I'm going to be adding 3 data memberships. Is that called like membership variables? I forgot. The first is going to be a standard string. Okay, this is going to be called name. This is going to be the name of my object, and then I'll go with a hunger, which is going to be an integer ending with a semicolon. And then these are basically the only 2 variables that I need. I actually need to ask what are variables called inside of classes. I actually forgot. Next up, let's go ahead and add a constructor. There we go. I think I spelled it correct. Okay, so for my constructor, I'm going to go ahead and invoke my pet function, add a pair of parentheses, and then I'm going to be adding 2 parameters. The first parameter is going to be a standard string of name. The second parameter, honestly, I could keep this to be n. Okay, the second parameter is going to be an integer of hunger, which is h. And honestly, I think I gotta like publicalize my class as well. So let's go with public. There we go. And then maybe indent all this. Okay, maybe I go with a bunch of Control Z's real quick. There we go. Okay, now I indent all this. Okay, next up, let's see. Okay, next up, I gotta create a constructor that says both of those values. Okay, so I added my, my pets class. I invoked it and I added my parameters. Now let's set my parameter of name or my variable of name to be equal to my parameter of n. And then let's set my variable of hunger to be equal to my parameter of h. Bro, why don't you use using namespace std instead of writing std again and again? Honestly, many people do say me that. That said, the reason I don't use using namespace std is because in like bigger projects, not using standard console output can cause name conflicts because like other libraries do have console output as well. That said, I gotta create a method. So it says create a method called feed that has a parameter of food, which is an integer that decreases hunger by the amount of food given. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a variable. You can right click and format the whole code at once. Can I? Right click. Oh, there's an option of like format document. Do we like that format document? Okay, I honestly might look into that. Okay, that said, so let's go ahead and create a method now. So I'm going to be creating a void method. This void method is going to be called feed. Okay, I'll add a pair of parentheses, and then I'll add a parameter of food. And let's go with a pair of curly braces. Inside of my method, I gotta subtract my hunger with my food. Okay, honestly, I might add a if statement to like add a max hunger. So let's go with something like if a pair of parentheses, if my hunger variable is greater than, let's say, I don't know, maybe greater than or equal to 100, I'm going to do something. You're passing string value in a constructor. This will cause an expensive copying, which you could avoid by writing const standard string. Honestly, that does make sense. By writing const standard string and, honestly, I've learned about the const, but then I've never I don't see like a variable name. So like instead, if I go with something like a const standard string instead of name, if I go with like a ampersand operator, yeah, I don't think that works. Awesome stuff, great job. I appreciate you, E. Okay, let's see. Okay, wars. Honestly, I might actually look into that and like ask what happens. Okay, so I created an if statement. So if my hunger variable is greater than or equal to 100, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then let's see, it says decrease hunger by the amount of food given. So I'm going to go with something like hunger minus equals to, let's say, my food parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, but never lets the hunger drop below 0. Okay, and then let's honestly add another if statement. Honestly, I might add something like an else if. So I'll go with an else if, a pair of parentheses, else if my hunger variable is less than 0. I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then set my hunger variable to be equal to 0, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go with an else clause, add a pair of curly braces, and maybe add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna say something like, you are full. Okay, exclamation. Honestly, I'll go with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, first always check that user's input. First always check that user's input and method should not be negative or has a value that is not defined. What I mean is first check which should not go negative. Oh, okay. First let me check if the food shouldn't go negative. So that is greater than. Instead of adding that first, I could like go ahead and add this first. Okay, let's go ahead and add to check if my hunger is less than or equal to 0. Honestly, just less than 0. There we go. And I'll remove the else and keep this to an if. Okay, is this what you guys meant? Okay, and then instead of going with a if here, I'm going to change this to an else if. There we go. Okay, honestly, I feel like this makes more sense now. So if my hunger is less than 0, I set it to be 0. Else if my hunger is greater than or equal to 100, I decrease my hunger by my food. Lastly, else I say you're full. Honestly, let me go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator here as well. This is going to say something like, let's see, okay, fed, and then I'll go with another insertion operator of my food parameter. Okay, fed food. Maybe I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator, say something like current hunger. Okay, so my current hunger is gonna be another insertion operator of my hunger variable with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Check food should not be below 0 instead of hunger. Check food. Oh, I see. Okay. Honestly, I'm not like adding my user's input here first, because this is going to be just me adding a parameter. Eventually, I will be adding a user input maybe from the next question. Okay, that said, okay, let's say something like. Honestly, I think this should be pretty much enough. Okay, so I have one for less than 0, I have one for greater than or equal to 100, and I have an else clause. Okay, perfect. That said, next up I gotta create a method called status that prints the pet's name and current hunger. Okay, so let's go ahead and create another void method called status. Okay, with a pair of parentheses inside my status method, I'm gonna be adding. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to be adding a parameter. Instead, I'll go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, the status prints the pet's name and hunger. So I could go with something like pet's name, maybe add a colon and a space, and then I'll go in a new line, add an insertion operator of my name variable with another insertion operator, maybe of a / new line, and then I'll go with another insertion operator. This time, I'm going to go with something like pet hunger. Okay, and then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator of my hunger variable. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, honestly, I think that should be pretty much it. Then I gotta create a main function. It says inside your main function, create one pet object. You can name it anything. So let's go ahead and create our main function. So I could go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, inside of my main function, I'm going to be creating an object. So I want to create a pet object. So I'm going to be calling my pet class and maybe name my object something like pet1. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses and I'll need two parameters. The first is going to be a name parameter. The second is going to be a hunger parameter. So my name is going to be something like, I don't know, maybe Tom. and my hunger is going to be maybe something like 67, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then feed it multiple times using a loop so we can see hunger decrease. Okay, feed it multiple times using a loop. So maybe inside of my food method, I could like go with a while loop. Okay, honestly, let me go ahead and copy this part. Okay, let's go ahead and add a while loop. Okay, so while a pair of parentheses, let's say while my hunger variable is, I don't know, maybe greater than 0, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Honestly, I don't think I want to add like a console output. I might go with this loop question next. Okay, let's just try feeding it a bit. Okay, could I add like a while loop here? Okay, let's actually try adding a while loop here. So I'll go with something like while. Okay, let's see. So while my pet1. Okay, while my pet1 dot the hunger function is greater than 0. Honestly, I gotta go like while it's greater than 0, I'll do something. Let's go ahead and do something like pet1. Okay, my object dot feed. Okay, add a pair of parentheses, and then I'm gonna end that with a semicolon. Okay, honestly, I'll go with something like 10. Maybe change this to 30. So my pet has 30 hunger, and it's gonna increase by 10 every single time until my pet hunger is not less than. I think I should go with something like less than or equal to 100. So actually greater than or equal to 100. Okay, that should make more sense. Okay, next up, print the status each time. So I could go with something like pet1 dot status with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0 ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. In C++, that's called a reference ampersand, which is almost the same as a pointer of an asterisk, but much simpler. It's very hard to avoid unnecessary copying. Pet con string. Oh, I see. Try adding -25 into feed method. Honestly, I could try that. Okay, before that, let me go ahead and control S to save the code and run the command. Let's see what happens. Okay, is it like calculating? I'm pretty sure it should like. Okay, it didn't honestly print anything. Maybe because my while loop says something like while my pet1's hunger is either more than 100 or equal to 100. Honestly, shouldn't this like make sense? Okay, I go with my status method as well, so I went with my status method. Okay, my status method doesn't need a parameter. Okay, what happens if I just go with my pet1.status? So let me go ahead and delete that and paste my pet1.status. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, does it print my status? It does print pet name Tom, hunger 30. Okay, what if I go with something like pet1.feed? Let's go with the feed method. Okay, I want to feed like 10 HP or 10 hunger. Okay, if I run the code, okay, it says you're full. Your hunger is already below 100, so condition is false. Howdy. Okay, howdy, Formidable Thunder. I appreciate you joining this stream. It's been long. Okay, that said, your hunger is already below 0. Is it? Okay, while your hunger is. Okay, let's see. So your hunger is already below 0, so condition is false. My hunger. Okay, it's. I don't think my hunger is like below 0. It's like 30. Okay, let's go with a bunch of Control Z's real quick, but let me actually think. I think I'm doing a silly mistake. Okay, what if I go with less than or equal to 0? Less than or equal to... Oh, okay. So 30 is less than 100, so I think this should work. What happens if I go with a Control S to save the code and run the command? Okay, it doesn't break. Okay, it's been a long while. How are you? I'm actually doing good. I appreciate joining the stream, Thunder. When you were checking with a while loop, okay, so while my pet1's is hunger, that is my hunger, is less than or equal to 100, I do that. I increase it by 10. Which means like if it is 100, it should stop. You either are intentionally acting dumb or you actually might not be bright. Guys, I actually take a while to learn. I'm kind of a slow learner. That said, okay, let's see. Okay, wait, when I feed, did I increase? Oh, I decrease my food. Let me try increasing it. Okay, so hunger should increase by my food. There we go. Okay, I think that should work. If I were to go with the control as to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Why is it like an infinite loop? Huh. Okay, so while my pet... Should I go with like a not hungry variable? I've taken up another programming course, but I already wrapped up the Python. That honestly sounds pretty cool. It'll only stop when hunger gets up to 0. Wait, when hunger gets up to 100. I feel like... Okay, let's see. Guys, did I just chew my hair? Okay. Okay, so while my hunger gets up to 100. Okay, while hunger is more than 0. Okay, I could try that. While my hunger is greater than 0. Okay, it is greater than 0. So the loop runs, although I need to stop the loop as well. Okay, let's think. Should I like, wait, I think I might need to go with a flag. Let me try going with a flag. I could go with something like, let's say something like a Boolean flag of, I don't know, maybe full. Okay, I could go something like is full. Okay, I'll set that equal to false because my object is not full yet. And then I'll go with something like an if statement. So if a pair of parentheses. Okay, the cringiest shit I was ever seen today. That actually is kind of this thing. Okay, so let's go with something like if my pet1, let's see, if my pet1 dot hunger, okay, is either actually is greater than or equal to 100, I'm gonna do something. I'll go ahead and set my is full variable or is full boolean variable to be equal to true, ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go with a while loop. So I'll go with something like while a pair of parentheses. Okay, let's type something like while is full. I'm gonna do something. Okay, only while my okay, while is not full. Okay, while my while my object is not full, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with something like pet1 dot let's go with feed. I want to feed my pets with like, I don't know, maybe 10 hunger points. And then I'll go with pet1 dot status. Okay, I think this should work. Okay, please share feed method. My feed method. Okay, honestly, I did add my feed method here. So it's like, if my hunger is less than 0, my hunger is going to be set to 0. And then else, if my hunger is greater than or equal to 100. Oh wait, should I go with something like if my hunger is not greater than or equal to 100, my hunger increases by my food? Honestly, I think this should make more sense. Okay, and then for my status method, hold up, I actually think this would make more sense right now. Okay, yo, back to support your hobby. How are you doing, Joltaman? I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, so I actually think this might work. So if my pet hunger is either more than or equal to 100, okay, let's hit Control-Z to save the code and run the command. Okay, why is it like an infinite loop? Like, shouldn't the loop be stopping? Am I doing something wrong? Maybe I removed my flag entirely. Okay, let's see. So, I gotta add a condition. So while my pet wants hunger, okay, I want my pet wants hunger to check if it's, okay, only while it is greater than or equal to 100. Maybe I just go with greater than. Only if this is true, I want this to run. Else, I want it to break. Yes, but you missed the condition for feeding. Oh, would you like to learn Java? Honestly, eventually I do want to learn Java. I'm pretty excited for learning it. I like the code. Okay, been lacking coding motivation, sadly. Okay, you're doing wrong in the feed method. Oh, okay, let's see. Else. Okay, wait, should this be an if in that case? Okay, should I just change this to like an if instead of an else if? There we go. I actually thought I should have changed it to an if. For some reason I went with an else if. If my hunger is less than or equal to 100, that's when I increase my hunger. There we go. Okay, I think this should work now. Okay, use greater, not use greater than. Okay, let's go with the control S to save the code and run the command. This should stop my. Okay, it doesn't print. You're confusing hunger for food. For food fed. Wait, if my hunger. Honestly, you're confusing hunger for food fed. Variable name is important, Kappa. Oh, okay, wait. My food is a parameter. I want to only increase my hunger with my food, but if my hunger is already 100, I just want to say you're full. Huh. Okay, so if my hunger, let's say, is greater than 0, okay, maybe I remove this if statement as well real quick. Okay, let's go with an if statement here. So if my hunger is greater than 0, maybe something like and my hunger variable is less than 100, less than or equal to 100. Okay, while my hunger is more than 0 and my hunger is less than or equal to 100, I increase my hunger by food. Okay, and then I print that, else I say you're full. Okay, okay, you're entering while loop only when hunger is greater than 100, but your initial hunger is 30. Oh, wait, while my hunger. Oh, okay, that actually makes sense. Wait, hold up. Okay, so while my hunger is, let's say, greater than. Should I go with like 0? Okay, while my hunger is more than 0, I do this. Should I go with less than 100? Guys, I feel like I'm missing something really. It's like, let's see. Okay, there we go. So fed 10, current hunger 40, current hunger 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, bro, I have Windows 7, so can I learn C++? Honestly, I've not tried learning C++ in Windows 7, but I don't think it should make like a big of a difference. Maybe it could be like, if you have like less space. Okay, while hunger is less than. Okay, yes, now run. Okay, perfect. Let's go with the control A, control C, copy that, good city/ChatGPT here. Guys, that was actually a pretty silly mistake. That said, guys, I actually see where I messed up. Okay, so I'll go with a shift enter. Maybe just send it. Okay, okay, people, you've drawn a sword well, but you've swung it in the wrong direction. Your structure is solid, class construction loop, all perfect, but your logic is backwards. You said hunger should decrease when the pet is fed, okay? Instead of increasing hunger every time you feed it. That means poor Tom gets hungrier the more you feed him. Okay, what is he? A black hole with fur? Here's how your mind should have worked. Hunger means how hungry the pet is. Feeding reduces hunger. Okay, I bet it has increases. But it should never go below 0 since that would mean negative hunger, okay? Which is either divine or insane. So you should have done something like hunger minus equals food and then checked if hunger is below 0, then set it to 0. Okay, I see. Let me say something like, I see ... All those should say, can I get a instructional based question that requires inputs as well, question mark. Okay, let's see. You can learn it in any operating system. Windows 7 is also fine. Okay, go for it, all the best. Okay, shouldn't you decrease hunger when you fed? Honestly, yeah, I actually thought, okay, I honestly, when I read that instruction-based question, I thought when you eat something, you, like, whatchamacallit, your hunger actually increased. I thought, I actually, whatchamacallit, confused hunger with, like, the HP bar system, because, like, the more HP potions you take, the more meat you eat, the more your health bar increases. Okay, that said, finally someone making good use of the internet. Okay, let's see. So you want something that makes you think while you type, huh? Good, you're starting to sound like a real programmer. Alright, listen closely. This one will require logic loops and inputs. Instructional question: create a class called bank account that simulates a very basic bank system. Your class should have a string of owner name, a double of balance, a constructor that sets both of them, okay, a method called deposit that has a parameter of amount, which is going to be a double that increases balance, a amount called withdraw that has a parameter of amount as well, actually a method called withdraw with a parameter of amount that decreases balance only if there's enough money, otherwise prints a warning, a method called show balance that displays the current balance, okay. Then inside of our main function, we ask the user for the name and starting place, create a bank account object using that input, okay. Using a loop, let the user choose between options 1 for deposit, 2 for withdraw, 3 for show balance, 0 for exit. Okay, let the program keep running until the user chooses 0. Okay, add and create a passbook history. Oh, I see. Okay, honestly, I could try that. Okay, finally, okay, that said, let's go with the controller, delete everything. Let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Okay, there we go. Next up, let's go ahead and read the instructions. So it says to create a class called bank account. So I'll go ahead and create a class called bank account. There we go. Please don't redeem it. Guys, it's not a real bank account. That said, I'll add a pair of curly braces inside the pair of curly braces. I didn't guess you to 3. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, I'm going to be having two variables. The first is going to be a standard string, which is going to be name. And the second one is going to be something like, I don't know, it's going to be a double of balance. So I'll go with something like double of balance. Okay, ending with a semicolon. And then I got to add a constructor that says both of them. So let's go ahead and add a constructor. There we go. Did I spell it correct? Don't redeem the card. Okay, for my constructor, I'm gonna invoke or like call my bank accounts as class, add a pair of parentheses, and then inside of my bank accounts as class, I'm gonna be adding a few parameters. The first is gonna be of a standard string. Okay, this is gonna be called name, and the second one's gonna be something like a double of balance. Okay, let's go with something like double of balance, and this is going to be like a comma. Okay, history also. Honestly, I don't think I know what to do with history because like I have almost zero knowledge whatsoever when it comes to bank accounts. Okay, that said, is the history like how many times they added stuff like withdrawn and amount like deposited something? Okay, next up, I'm going to be reassigning my name to be equal to n, ending with a semicolon, and then my balance double to be equal to my, let's change this to something like b. Okay, to my b parameter, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, next up, it says a method, create a method called deposit double amount. History also, JSON variable type. Honestly, I've like never learned about JSON, although I did hear about JSON. I should actually like have a separate stream on that. Okay, so a method called deposit that will help learn more. Honestly, in that case, after this question, I could like ask Sensei/ChatGPT about that because like I've honestly never worked with JSON. Okay, that said, I'm going to be creating a void method called deposit. Honestly, okay, since it is a deposit method, should I create an integer variable because I might return something? I don't know, let's see. I'll go with like a deposit. There we go. So I'll go with a void deposit method that is going to be having a parameter of double, which is going to be something like amount. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. And inside of my void method, it says that increases balance. So I got to increase, let's say, my balance variable by my amount variable, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I got to create another method called withdraw that decreases balance only if there's enough money, otherwise it prints a warning. Bro thinks he's speaking in British slang but actually speaking like a fem. Guys, I get that so much. Like many of you guys do say me that like I get it like at least 3 times in every stream. They ask me, bro, are you gay? I'm like, I'm not gay, guys. Okay, let's go with withdraw. There we go. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses and maybe add a parameter of double, which is going to be an amount. Okay, and then let's go with a pair of curly braces. Inside of my withdraw mod, I'm going to be adding an if statement to check if my balance is less than 0. Okay, I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses, only if my balance is not less than 0. If not balance is less than or equal to 0, I'll do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, then let's see, decrease only if there's enough balance. Honestly, okay, if balance is less, actually, while my balance is greater than my amount, while my balance is greater than my amount parameter, I think this should work. Okay, can you check can you check is ChatGPT say only one account name? Honestly, I could like create multiple accounts, like if I go with separate classes, because like I'm like reading this instructions right here. Honestly, if I want like separate accounts and like user inputs, I could like create more variables. Okay, your hand motions look a bit zesty sometimes, but in bisexual and got amazing. Gaydar, guys, I don't know what y'all mean. Like it's actually sometimes kind of funny when you guys say that though. Your actions are zesty, bro. Guys, I keep saying that I'm not gay. Okay, that said, while my balance is greater than 0, I'm gonna do something. Let's go ahead and subtract my balance variable by my amount. Okay, and then I'll end that with a semicolon. That said, let's see, a method called withdraw that decreases balance only if there's enough money and then otherwise prints a warning. Okay, let's go with an else clause. Else a pair of curly braces. Guys, I'm not, like, are you LGBTQ? Guys, I'm not gay. Okay, that said, I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like, insufficient funds. There we go, insufficient funds, exclamation, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, passing a copy of strings into constructor, not checking for negative deposit withdrawals. Honestly, I'm just learning the basics. Eventually, I'm actually going to be, working with, I don't know, like adding references and everything, like reference for loops and everything inside of my class, because I like just started learning about classes yesterday. Okay, is greater than or equal to in withdraw. Withdraw greater than or equal to amount. Oh, okay, that actually does make sense. Even though all of it's not important to learn object-oriented programming. Okay, let the man work his magic, just trying to code. I don't think he cares if he looks zesty. Guys, actually, I kind of do. I actually don't even mind much because I feel like it's like I can talk better or speak better if I move my hands. That said, what are you working on? Honestly, I'm just working on mastering the basics of C++, and currently I'm like working on learning about object-oriented programming. Okay, and then I gotta create another method called showBalance that displays the current balance. Okay, so let's go ahead and create another void function. So I'll go with void showBalance. There we go. With a pair of parentheses, inside my showBalance, I'm not going to be adding a parameter. That said, I will go with a pair of curly braces and then, okay, let's go with my balance. So I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like my name variable with another insertion operator. Okay, name has balance. Honestly, I could go with something like name is gonna be my name, so I'll go with an insertion operator of name, and then I'll go with another insertion operator of balance. Maybe I go in a new line first, so let's go with a / new line, and then I'll go with something like balance. Okay, balance is gonna be my balance. I'll go with another insertion operator of my balance variable. Okay, I think that's pretty much good with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Are you Indian? Honestly, I've never been to India, although I'm pretty excited to someday visit India. I might stream myself there. Okay, that's it. I'm pretty sure this should be pretty much it. Okay, next up it says create a main function as the user for the name and starting balance. So I could go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. You don't need to code classes to learn object-oriented programming. You've got to read books or articles about that. Guys, I think like we should like do it physically to like actually understand, because like I feel like I do understand most stuff in theory, but if I actually go and try to utilize that theory into like actually writing a code or like phrasing a code, I mess up there. Okay, sorry to ask this, but sorry to ask you this, but don't you have Toryutis? Honestly, I've never heard of that. I was just curious about your age. How old are you? Honestly, I am 17 years old. That said, my birthday is this January 5th. I'm gonna turn 18, guys. Okay, bro, what are you doing? Who codes like this? Honestly, I'm just learning like the basics. In classes, members are private by default. Oh, I forgot to publicize my class. Guys, I keep forgetting to public my class, so I'll go with public. There we go. Okay, I should actually add a comment specifically for public, so like, whatchamacallit, there we go, so I could like remember this. Okay, yes, you need to do it physically, great job. Okay, let's see. Next up, it says inside my main function, I gotta ask the user to enter their name and starting balance. So I could go ahead and create two variables. First is gonna be a standard string of name ending with a semicolon, and the second is gonna be a double of balance ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, people gotta respect we learn in different ways. That does make sense. Keep up the learning. Good job. I appreciate you, Carl. Okay, next up. Then create a bank account object with that input. Okay, so I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert, whoops. Okay, there we go. Let me just keep that there. My tissue roll just fell. Okay, so I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'll say something like enter a balance. Honestly, I could go with something like enter a name. This is going to be the name, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract something. If you're using C++23, you can use stdprint instead of a standard console output. You would have to import the print header to support it. Oh, I see. You can use using namespace std at the beginning. After that, you include, then you don't have to write std every time. Honestly, the reason I do write std is because many of you guys did say me it is a good practice. That said, not using using standard console output or using namespace std could like cause name conflicts in like bigger projects, because if we don't use standard console output, then that could cause name conflicts, since like other libraries do have console output as well. If that made any sense, guys. I think I phrased it kind of bad. Okay, let's go with enter a balance. Okay, so it says enter a balance. There we go, ending with a semicolon, and then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my balance variable. Okay, perfect. Next up, it says create a bank account object. So let's go ahead and create a bank account object. I could go ahead and call my bank account function. Actually, my bank account is class, and then I'll create something like account1. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of parentheses, and I'll need two parameters. The first is going to be a name parameter, which is going to be my name variable. The second is going to be a balance parameter, which is going to be my balance variable, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then using a loop, let the user choose between options 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and use a loop. So I'll go with something like while, a pair of parentheses. Okay, let's go with something like while true loop. And then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Okay, chat full of experts. The most of object-oriented programming here is classes, keywords. Don't get me wrong, I'm trying to help if you're really into object-oriented programming. Honestly, I am actually learning the basics right now. That said, I do want to eventually like go over more complex codes. That said, okay, so I gotta create a while loop. So I go with a while loop. Okay, while true. Okay, use a while loop, then let the user choose between options 1, 2, 3, and 0. 1 to deposit, 2 to withdraw, 3 to show balance, 4 to exit. Honestly, in that case, should I like go with okay, I could go with something like while true. I'll ask the user for something. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'll say to pick a number. Pick a number. Okay, pick a number, exclamation. Maybe I could go with 4 hyphens here and like 4 hyphens here as well. Okay, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and create an integer variable of number ending with a semicolon. Okay, under this standard console output, I'll add another standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like 1 for deposit, so 1 equals to deposit. There we go. And then I'll go with a /new line. and then I'll go with something like 2 for, I don't know, maybe 2 for withdraw. So I'll go with withdraw with a forward slash new line. Can I like go in? Okay, I think this works as well. Okay, I can't do that. Okay, and then 3 to show balance. So I could go with something like 3 to show balance. Okay, don't define all members of the class as public. This opposes the principle of encapsulism. As I said, no OOP here. Honestly, I see. I could actually ask that. Okay, and then I'll go with a forward slash new line. Lastly, I'll go with something like 0 to exit. Okay, I'll go with 0 to exit. Okay, I think this should be pretty good. Let's go ahead and end that with a semicolon. And then now, let me go ahead and add a standard console output again. This is going to say something like, enter a number, enter a number. This is basically C with classes, honestly. Okay, so I'll go with a standard console output of enter a number. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my number variable, ending with a semicolon. Okay, so... okay, I think I should actually get my number variable outside my for loop, like right here. Okay, I think this would make more sense. Okay, and now instead of going with a while true loop, I could go with like while my number variable. So while my number variable is not equal to 0. Okay, while my number is not equal to 0, I'm going to do all this. Okay. Even Objective-C has more object-oriented programming in it. Guys, I honestly just started object-oriented programming yesterday with C++. That said, let me just hydrate my lips. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see. Let me just go ahead and change this real quick. Go right there. Okay, perfect. Okay, if you don't follow the principles of object-oriented programming, it's not object-oriented programming. Okay, exit option. Okay, there we go. So, let's see. While my number is not equal to 0, I do this. And then let's go with an if statement. If a pair of parentheses, if my number variable is equal to, let's say 1, I'm going to do something. Okay, I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Calling only class keyword. And object-oriented programming just shows your incompetence. Guys, I feel like I am kind of incompetent right now. That said, eventually I would actually go with more advanced stuff. This is like really beginner level stuff. Okay, okay, what was I gonna do? So if 1 is clicked, I want to go ahead and call my deposit method. So if n equals to 1, if my number equals to 1, I'll go with my account one's object dot the deposit function. Okay, I want to deposit something. I'll go with a pair of parentheses. Okay, and then a amount. I could ask the user for a amount as well. Okay, let's go ahead and add maybe a variable here, integer of amount. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a amount to deposit. Okay, and then I'm gonna end that with a semicolon. That's it. Let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my amount variable ending with a semicolon, and this is gonna be my amount parameter. Honestly, I might actually typecast this to a double, since it is like this thing. Private keyword is a part of encapsulism and object-oriented programming as well. Oh, I see. It's just another paradigm. Is that how you pronounce it, like a paradigm? Okay, account one dot deposit. That's my amount. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Next up, if my number equals to 2, let's go with an else if, a pair of parentheses. Else if my number variable is equal to 2, I'll do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then create another amount variable. So I'll go with something like double amount. End it with a semicolon, and then add a standard console output. Howdy Luda, I appreciate you joining this stream. Do you guys think it's just an unintuitive language? Okay, but it doesn't make a class, object-oriented programming, and OOP program. Oh, I see. Okay, let's say something like enter a amount to withdraw. Okay, entry amount to withdraw. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and end that with a semicolon as well. Okay, modern devs have no future. Cool. Okay, let's see. Let's go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my amount variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and invoke my amount1 again, my amount1 object. Actually, this should be my account1 object. There we go. Okay, dot, let's say the withdraw function this time, or the withdraw method. I want to withdraw something. My parameter is going to be my amount variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, show balance. So I'll go with something like an else clause, else a pair of parentheses. Honestly, let me actually specify this. So I'll change to something like an else if. Okay, else if a pair of parentheses. I'll go with something like else if. I don't know, I'll show my balance. So let's say something like my account1 object dot the show balance function. Actually, the show balance method, is it called something else? Okay, it's called shows balance. Account1 dot shows balance. Wait, am I doing something? Oh, okay, my bad, guys. I forgot I had a pair of parentheses here. There we go. Okay, so else if my number equals to 3, I'll do something. I'm gonna go with a pair of curly braces and then go with my account1 object dot the shows balance. There we go. Okay, show balance method ending with a semicolon. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Lastly, let's go with an else clause. I'll type something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'm gonna say something like enter a valid number. Okay, exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, I think that should be pretty much it. Okay, else if my player exits the function, I'm gonna say something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. This should say something like have a great day. Okay, I think this should be pretty much good. Okay, I'll go with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Maybe I add a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I'm really impressed. I always see you stream when I'm scrolling and I say to myself, he'll probably quit after 2 days, but you proved me wrong. Good job. I appreciate you, Alan. That means the world to me, honestly, guys. Okay, so I'll go with something like entry name. I don't know, maybe I'll go with something like Sarah. Entry balance, I'll go with something like $100,000. Pick a number between... Okay, pick a number. Honestly, when I go with pick a number, I should most likely add a / new line. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and hit Control S to save the code again and run the command. Figuring and going through problems are actually rewarding. AI just ruins it all. Honestly, that does make sense. I do try figuring out all the problems that I try solving. That said, let's go with something like Sarah and like 100,000. Okay, pick a number. So it says 1 to deposit, 2 to withdraw, 3 to show balance, 4 to exit. Okay, when I go with 0 to exit, I should go with a / new line. Okay, now if I hit Control S. Okay, let's go with something like Sarah and then maybe 100,000, 10,000, 100,000. There we go. Okay, I want to go with 1. It says entry amount to deposit. I want to go with 100. Okay, and then it says pick a number. I want to withdraw something. Let's go ahead. Honestly, I want to show my balance. Okay, so it says name Sarah balance $100,000. 100 and how do you pronounce this? Okay, I could go with something like withdraw. Let's go with number 2. I want to withdraw, I don't know, maybe 50,000. There we go. I'll show my balance. That shows my balance, $50,100. Lastly, I'll go with 0 to exit, and it says have a great day. Okay, perfect. Okay. Honestly, enter a valid number. Okay, else if a pair of parentheses, if my number is not equal to 0, I'll do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add the standard console output inside. There we go. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and add a Control-A, Control-C, copy it, and get Synthase/ChatGPT here. Okay, I think it was pretty much correct. Let's go ahead and paste this and send. Congratulations, I appreciate you, Loot. Okay, in C++, you have references and vectors and smart pointers. Oh, I see. It's not like you need to call malloc every time you want to have something in heap. Okay, this kind of feels like rage bait. Guys, I'm actually not rage baiting. That's it, people. Not bad at all. You've written something that actually functions as a little bank terminal. That's serious progress. But I can still smell if you rookie miss. I can still smell if you rookie missteps in your logic. Let's dissect them before you go around running an economy. Okay, on initialized variable, you declared an integer variable but never initialized it. Okay, before the while loop. Okay, that means while number is not equal to 0 is checking an undefined value before any input. Oh, I see. Okay, that does make sense. In short, the loop could behave unpredictably. Infinite loops, skip loop, crash, chaos. You should initialize it. Okay, so integer number equals to -1, so the loop runs at least once. Typo of insufficient funds. Okay, did you mean insufficient funds? Okay, let's see. Okay, grammar aside, that's the line users will see most often, so it deserves a good look. Deposit and withdraw lag feedback. When the user deposits or withdraws, they should see confirmation. Standard console output. Okay, tiny logic polish and withdraw function. When there's not enough money, you might also show the balance that gives context to the player's failure. You only have $20. Hits harder than silence. Okay, fix those details. Okay, let me say something like, honestly, I see should say ... That said, can I get another question? Okay, let's see. Let him strangle and understand. Honestly, I do like try saying this to many people. It's like, because eventually the way I usually learn is by doing a lot of problems, but some of you guys are like, whatchamacallit, you should go in the correct, like you should do the correct things, although I don't understand what they mean. Okay, you read about it at the same time without the instruction. You need to know what to read. Okay, that said, good. That's the fire I want to see in your eyes, Vivek. Alright, here's your next instruction-based object-oriented programming challenge, and this one's going to test your brain. This one's going to test your brain's gears a little more deeply. It will combine classes, loops, decision-making, and object interaction. The challenge Arena of Beasts creates a program where two monsters battle each other until one of them faints. Requirements: create a class called monster. Okay, so I'll need two. Okay, I gotta create a program with two monsters. Okay, so I need one class and two objects. Create a class called monster with the following data members: a standard string of name, an integer of health, and a integer of attack. Add the following methods. Okay, I go with attack monster, my monsters' class, and the target is going to be my next object. Subtracts attack power from the target's health. Show status displays both the name and current health. In our main function, ask the user to create two monsters, input their names and stats, make them fight in a while loop until one's health reaches 0, print who wins at the end. Optional bonus: if you're feeling wild, after every round, ask if the user wants to continue the fight or heal one more of the monsters slightly. Okay, use an if statement to handle that choice. Okay, that said, this exercise forces you to simulate interaction between two objects, a core of object-oriented programming. Your job, Gladiator, is to make the fight look epic in the console. Okay, I think I understand. Let's get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, it's a pretty good idea to have a conceptual idea of how constructs in language work. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, let's go with the control A and delete everything. That said, let me go ahead and drink some water. I'm kind of thirsty. Huh. Okay, so let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. Now it's a little complex for you. Honestly, okay, I could actually try it. So I'll go with something like include a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream stuff. Okay, where do you live? Honestly, many people do ask me that, and like some of you guys did say me to avoid saying where I like live. I used to say which country I'm, but they were like, don't dox yourself. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and read the instructions again. So, okay, the instruction says create a program. with a monster class. So let's go ahead and create a class. So I could go ahead and create a class called monster at a pair of let's say curly braces. Inside of my monster class, I'll need three data members. The first is going to be a standard string of name. The second is going to be integer of health and integer of attack power. So I could go with something like integer of health and integer of attack power, ending with a semicolon. Okay, but you have to start with letters to start with. Honestly, I should actually start with whatchamacallit. Honestly, I think like I do use whatchamacallit. I should try using characters as well, because I'm pretty sure like for characters we use like single pair of quotes. Okay, learning words goes Jen. Okay, let's see. Next up, add the following method. So I need an attack method. So let's go ahead and create a void attack method. Okay, with a pair of parentheses inside my void attack method, I'm going to be invoking my monster class, and then let's say a ampersand operator or a referencing operator of target keyword. Okay, this is my second object. I get the target of my second object. That said, subtracts attack power from the target's health. So let's go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, and now subtracts. Okay, I have an attack method called subtracts attack power from the target's health. So I could do something like my target keyword dot the health data member minus equals to my attack power, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I gotta create another method called void show status. So I'll go with something like void show status. Yeah, because we don't care who you're live. Please don't get distracted. Honestly, I should actually focus more because I usually read the chats and get distracted, guys. That said, this should be show status. Show status. There we go. Okay, next up, let's see. Okay, the show status method displays both the name and current health. So I gotta display both my name and my current health. To do that, I could go with a pair of curly braces and I don't know, maybe go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna say something like name. Let's go into a new line. Honestly, I could do it in this line. This is going to be my name variable, so I'll go with my name variable, and then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. Okay, that displays both name and current health. Let's go ahead and add my current health right now. So I could go with something like / new line current health. Okay, so current health. Okay, I'll go ahead and add another insertion operator of my health variable, ending with a semicolon. Honestly, let's end with a / new line and then a semicolon. Okay, that is pretty much it for my status method. That said, let's go ahead and add a main function. So I could go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my main function, let's see, it says ask the user to create two monsters, input their names and stats. So I could maybe ask the user to create two monsters. Okay, I gotta ask the user to create two monsters. I can't create them. Huh. Okay, in attack, I think check current health of attack, win or lose. You can do that too. Honestly, that does make sense. Every generation say that the new one is yet we survived till that moment somehow. Honestly, the most fundamental thing I'd say you need to learn is probably how the compiler works and its stages, so that you can learn how to use a build system. That actually sounds pretty fun. I might actually do that. Okay, so inside of my attack function, you can check current health after attack, win or lose. Honestly, I might actually add that in a bit. Okay, so inside of my main function, it says ask the user to create two monsters, input their names and stats. So I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, I'll go with something like std standard output with the insertion operator. Let's go with something like enter a monster. Okay, just write that. How can like I create objects? Okay, I don't think that would. Oh wait, when sensational ChatGPT says to create two monsters, I think I gotta like create my objects first. So let's go ahead and create my monster object. So I'll go with something like monster 1. with a pair of parentheses, let's add a few parameters. So I need a parameter of, let's see. Okay, I didn't add a constructor. Let's go ahead and add a constructor. Okay, maybe I could go with a comment and add something like constructor. For my constructor, I'm going to invoke my monster class and then add a pair of parentheses and add a few variables. So I'll go, actually, a few parameters. First is going to be of name, second is going to be of health, and third is going to be of attack power. So I'll go with AP. Okay. And then let's change this to H for health. Okay, perfect. This is going to be an integer ending with a semicolon. Although before that, I'll add a pair of parentheses. I am a big fan. I appreciate you, Pixels. Hey, someone there. Guys, I feel like my stream is lagging. Let me try restarting OBS. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Guys, my OBS actually crashed. That said, ask name from user monster1. Name both asks separate from comma. Okay, ask name from user monster1, monster2. Oh, okay, actually I was trying to actually do that. That's why I was creating my monster name first. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a name. So name is gonna be, maybe I'll go with like an integer variable of name. So I'll go with something like a standard string of name ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add something like an integer of maybe health and attack power. So I'll go with health and attack power ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I could go ahead and create two objects. I might actually... Oh, that actually makes sense. Okay, let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Let's say something like create monster1. Okay, so I gotta create a monster1. I'll end that with a semicolon, and then I'll go in an insertion operator. Or honestly, I could go with something like enter monster name, health and attack power, health and okay, enter monster name, health and attack power. There we go. I think this should make sense. Okay, I'll go with a, excuse me guys, a colon and space. Okay, you're trying to lure him into get line traps, loot tricks. Also consider using the, okay, using CST to, okay, CST ding to avoid C-type ambiguity. Okay, will you do header files and header guards next stream? Honestly, I do have like a roadmap. In that roadmap, like I just follow that actually. Honestly, but I do actually want to go over header files as well. I don't think that applies to programs as this generation is vulnerable to AI. Okay, let's see. Let's go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract something. Okay, let's see. I want to extract my monster1, so I'll go ahead and invoke my monster class and go with something like monster1 in pair of parentheses. Can I create a monster class here? Okay, I can't create a monster class here. What if I copy that and create it like below my user input here? Huh. Okay, let's add a few parameters of name. Okay, let's go with something like name attack power or name health and attack power variables ending with a semicolon. And then I add a standard console output of my name. Okay, that is going to be my name. And then another standard console input with an extraction operator of my health ending with a semicolon. Lastly, another standard console input with an extraction operator of my attack power ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, well, life is famous for surviving. Okay, so this is going to be my name variable. That's going to be health. That's going to be attack power. Okay, why does my name variable have like a red underline? So I go with a standard console output for name, health. Honestly, did I like mess something up? My health and attack power are integers. That should be a standard string, my first parameter. My name is a standard string. Did I spell it wrong? I spelled it correct. I don't like monster class. Huh. Okay, even if they fail as programmers, there is no need for McDonald's drive-through cashiers. He's just a kid, Alex. It'll take years for him to become a C/C++ master. That actually makes sense. Yes, only those who have deep understanding of CS, architecture, AI, etc. will survive. Okay, let's see, guys. Where did I mess up? I don't think I messed up here. This is how it works, right? So, I created a mod. Oh wait, did I publicize? Okay, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and public my class. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit tab to indent this. Let me go ahead and indent that. Okay, I think it's pretty much it. There we go. Okay, now it works. Okay, it's just a natural selection. Okay, next up, let's read the next instructions. Okay, make them fight using a while loop. So this is for monster 1. I gotta create 2 monsters. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this part again. Honestly, let me just copy that and then paste it here again. Okay, this is going to be monster 2. Okay, let me go ahead and copy that part and paste it here. Okay, honestly, does this make sense? I think this makes sense. So that is for my monster 1. This is for my monster 2. Okay, that gives me a copy. I'm not judging him or something. I'm just sharing my experience with him. Honestly, I do appreciate that a lot. At least he's enjoying programming. Okay, let's see. So that's my monster 2. Okay, I think this should work. Next up, I gotta print who wins at the end. Ask the user to create 2 monsters, input their names and stats. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add a while loop. Okay, guys, I feel my stream is gonna start lagging. Let me actually restart it real quick. Already mic testing. Okay, I think that should fix the lag. Okay, yeah, same. Didn't mean to insult anyone. So there's nothing wrong with them failing, even if it's immortal. Oh, I see. Okay, let's see. Let me check if I'm muted. There we go. Okay, so it says ask the user to create 2 monsters. Did that. Make them fight in a while loop. So now I go in a while loop. So while a pair of parentheses. Okay. Now while a condition. So what condition should I check? While my health is greater than. Honestly, let's say while my monster 1 dot health, okay, is greater than 0, or my monster 2 dot health. Actually, should I go with and? Or either one of them should be true. Okay, I think yeah, or should make sense, guys. I feel like my stream's kind of lagging a lot right now. Let me restart OBS again. Already mic testing. Guys, Mobius actually crashed. That said, I'll go with something like monster2 dot, let's see, again, same mistake, health field should be private, and there should be a getter function. Honestly, I've never learned of the getter function. Okay, I should actually like work on those, because like honestly, after a stream I used to practice a lot. That said, I don't have time these days because I did start college and I do have an exam tomorrow, guys. I need to like memorize like 60 different definitions. Okay, let's see. Let's read the instructions. So while my monster 1 dot health is greater than 0, or my monster 2 dot health is greater than 0, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with something like I'll create a integer of damage variable, and then I'll go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'll say something like enter a damage get health. Honestly, I've never heard of the get health function. But at least he used a reference this time. Thought it wouldn't work without reference. Honestly, yeah, the reference is like for target. So like I actually learned about the target keyword yesterday. So it's like monster with a referencing or ampersand operator of target lets me get access to my second object that I created. For example, monster 2. Okay, enter a damage to monster 1. Okay, I'll end that with a semicolon, and then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I'm going to extract my damage variable, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's do something like my monster 1. Wait, don't I have a... I have a attack method, so I don't need to actually explicitly create a variable. Instead, let me delete this. For my attack method, I have target, okay, let's go with something like monster 1 dot the attack method. I want to attack my monster 2. Okay, pointers be important in C-Land. Oh, I see C is beyond me. Outing Coder 11, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let me go ahead and end that with a semicolon. That is Monster 1 attacks Monster 2. Okay. Okay, I think I need to add an if statement now. I'll go with if, a pair of parentheses. Okay, did it like 30 years ago? That actually sounds pretty insane. Okay, that said, if my monster 1, or let's go with something like my monster 2 dot health is not equal to 0, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then do something like monster 2 dot attack. I want to attack my monster 1. Okay, and then I'll end that with a semicolon. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So it says attack the target health minus equals to attack power. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I think this should work. And once this while loop ends, I do something. I'll go ahead and say something like okay, I'll go with an if statement. So if a pair of parentheses, let's say if my monster 1 dot health is greater than let's say 0, and my monster 2 dot health is, let's say, less than or equal to 0, I'm gonna do something. I'll add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like monster 1 wins exclamation with a / new line. Now check, is he win? Okay, not less than 0. Wait, not less than 0? If monster 1 dot health, okay, better if health is greater than 0. Honestly, I feel like I added greater than 0. So if my monster 1 dot health is greater than 0, okay, and my monster 2 dot health is greater than 0, then my monster 1 attacks my monster 2. Next up, if my monster 2, maybe I remove that. There we go. Okay, if my monster 1 dot health is greater than 0, the while loop runs. In the other hand, if my monster 2 dot health is not equal to 0, okay, also checking if health is more than 0 should be a function itself, boolean alive const. Oh, I should actually try that. I should actually add a flag that checks if it's alive. Okay, let me actually see what happens if I like run this regular loop. Okay, that said, let's end this with a semicolon and then add an else clause, pair of curly braces, a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like monster 2 wins with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0. There we go. Guys, I feel like the stream's laggy again. Let me restart my OBS. Already mic testing. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, and guys, is the stream... Okay, I think the stream is still lagging. Let me try restarting my whole OBS. Already mic testing. Okay, perfect. That should fix the lag, I think. Object-oriented programming is cool. Honestly, it does sound pretty fun. Okay, so it says create a monster. The name is going to be something like, I don't know, maybe Goblin. Okay, let's go with something like Goblin. And then I'll need health. Goblin has 100 HP. And let's say 25 attack power. Enter another monster name. I'll go with something like, I don't know, maybe an elf. Okay, so elf has, let's say, 300 HP. And let's say something like maybe 50 attack power. Okay. Doesn't the while loop run? Yes, C++23 has a print header which introduces standard prints in with Python-like format. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, it doesn't actually return anything once I add my values. Although I do want to change one thing here. Okay, when I say something like enter a name, okay, I'll go with a / new line. There we go. Then one for this as well. Okay, my while loop is kind of wrong, I guess. So while my monster health is more than 0, my while loop should run. Okay, my monster 1's health is more than 0. Monster 1 attacks monster 2. I think it does attack, but it doesn't display anything. Okay, so once I attack, I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I just started properly learning Python yesterday, as I have more need later on for AI. Oh, I see, that actually sounds pretty good. Good luck busy with your Python journey. That said, I go with a static console output. I'll say something like name. So I'll go with name dot name with another insertion operator, name attacks. Okay, I want to go with my second monster name, so monster2 dot name. Okay, I have monsters. Could I go with something like monster1 dot name? Okay, I don't think I can do that. Okay, so name attacks. Okay, let's go with name attacks with power. Okay, I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. Name attacks with attack power. Okay, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, I think this should work. If I were to go with Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, it says enter a okay, so enter a name. I'll go with something like Elf, and then Elf has 300 HP and maybe 50 attack power. Enter a name, I'll go with something like a Goblin. Goblin has 100 health and 25 attack power. Monster2 wins. Okay, so it directly exits the loop and says Monster2 wins. Although the Monster2 does look weaker. Huh. Okay, honestly, I could like, let's see. Where could I like mess up? So I have a while loop. So while my health is more than 0, I want this loop to run. Okay, maybe I should add my standard console input here instead of there. Let's go ahead and delete that part. And then after my monster1 attacks my monster2, let's go with a static console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something like, I don't know, let's go with my monster1 dot name. Okay, with another insertion operator. Attacks, I'll go in a new line and another insertion operator. Monster2 dot name, so monster1 dot name attacks monster2 dot name with another insertion operator. Let's go with something like with, okay, with some HP. Let's go with another insertion operator of, let's say, monster1 dot attack power. There we go, dot attack power. Okay, and then I'll go with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, there we go. And then I want to display my monster2's current health. So I'll go with a static console output with an insertion operator that says something like my monster health, monster2 health. Okay, with another insertion operator of my monster2's object dot the health function. Actually, the health, okay, the health, I think it's a function. There we go. And then I'll end it with a semicolon. Honestly, let's get that in a new line. So I'll go with an insertion operator, maybe zoom in a little. There we go. Guys, I feel the code is kind of messy. I should like organize it more by adding more comments. Okay, monster2.health with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Maybe I add some space here so it's more readable, because I feel this is like not that readable. There we go. So this is one. Okay, so while my monster's health is greater than 100, monster1 attacks monster2, it shows that. And then, honestly, once that's done, I could go with something like monster2 dot attack monster1. Okay, monster2 dot attack. I want to attack my monster1. There we go. Have you tried debugging with VS Code debugging tools, then logging things? Honestly, I've not figured out how to debug it, but I actually might try that after stream if I have time once I'm done with my college stuff. Because like after I stream, I start working on my college stuff because I do got assignments / exams, and I do have like an exam tomorrow. That said, monster2 attacks monster1 now. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add this exact same if statement. Honestly, should I add this like in an if statement? I could try that. I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses, if monster1 dot let's say health is greater than 0, I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, and then I do all this. Let's go ahead and copy that and paste it here. Guys, I feel the stream started lagging. Let me just restart the stream real quick. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. I think that should fix the stream lag. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and paste that here, and I think it didn't fix the stream lag. Let me try it again. Already mic testing. I should. Okay, mic testing, guys. I think I should restart my whole OBS because it is still lagging. Give me a sec. Oh wait, never mind. I think it's good. I think we're good, guys. Okay, so what was I doing? Okay, let me check if it's not lagging. Okay, it is glitching a little. Okay, there. I think that should be good. Okay, actually, no. I think I should restart my OBS. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, let me restart my whole OBS. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, there we go. That should fix all more lag. Okay, so where was I? I actually added an if statement right here, and then I attacked monster. So monster1.attack monster2. Okay, and then I added my standard console output. Let me end that with a semicolon. How are you, Rainix? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, did I mess something up here? Because when I go with something like monster1, let's indent that. Okay, why can't I add a semicolon here? Okay, let's think. So monster1 dot my attack method monster2. If I end that, okay, so I'll go with something like while true. So this is going to be a while true loop. You're using the class instance variable the wrong way. You should put every variable in private with public methods like get health, return health, returning health. This ensures encapsulism. Honestly, my next stream might actually be on encapsulism because I've been hearing that word a lot. I should actually like work on that. Okay, because I honestly don't know how to like publicize a private variable, if that made any sense. Okay, that said, maybe I need to drink some water. Okay, let's see. Oh, I see. Okay, I gotta convert this to a pair of curly braces, not a pair of parentheses. There we go. Okay, he defeated the purpose of class using it as a struct. Honestly, I did go over structures in C++. That said, let's go ahead and end this with a semicolon now. Okay, there we go, that works. Okay, okay, that is for my monster1. Next up, let's go with an if statement for my monster2. So I'll go with something like if, a pair of parentheses, okay, if monster2 dot health, okay, if my monster2's health is greater than 0, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then let's go ahead and copy the standard console output and paste it here. And let me just replace monster1 with monster2. Attacks, change that to monster1. Excuse me, guys, let me go ahead and change that to monster2. And lastly, this to monster1. Okay, excuse me again, guys. Okay, I think this should be pretty good. So while true, I do this. And then let's add another variable, and actually another if statement. So if a pair of parentheses, if let's say monster1 dot health, okay, is less than or equal to 0, I do something. I add a pair of curly braces, and then let me go ahead and set something like my monster1 dot health to be equal to 0, and then I break my while loop, ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's go with another if statement. So if a pair of parentheses, if my monster2 dot health this time is less than or equal to 0, I go with a pair of curly braces, and then I'll do something like monster2, okay, monster2 dot health, okay, equals to 0, ending with a semicolon, and then I break. Okay, perfect. Okay, I think this should be pretty much it. How you come up with project ideas. Honestly, I usually just follow a roadmap and then just do the instruction-based question that Sensei/ChatGPT gives me. That said, I'm not experienced in C++, but what does the if true evaluates? Honestly, I think like you meant the while true, because I've like never heard of if true. There might be something like that. That said, while true basically means like keep running my loop until I don't add a break statement, or like somehow my loop doesn't break itself or like stop itself. Guys, let me restart my OBS. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, there we go. That fixed the lag. Also considering that he could like make a parent monster class and two classes like monster. Honestly, I feel like I have an inheritance topic like soon in like whatchamacallit, my roadmap of C++. That's it. I am going to be going over polymorphism, duck typing, and all that stuff as well. I think he's really baiting for comments. Guys, honestly, I'm not like baiting for comments. I'm just trying to learn this stuff. Okay, bye. Use it like that. Oh, I see. Okay. Next up, I like check something. Okay. Okay, honestly, before I break, I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something. Let's go ahead and say something like monster2 wins exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then I add something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like monster1 wins with a / new line ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, bit lazy, but there will be some other exit strategies from the loop. Usually, you would just have a variable instead. Oh, I see. Respect the grind. I appreciate you, Alan. Okay, let's go ahead and delete all this. I think this should work. I think this is pretty good. Okay, that's it. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So it says, okay, enter a monster name, I'll go with something like elf. Enter a monster health, I'll go with something like 300. Enter a attack power, I'll go with something like 30. And then I add another monster, this could be something like dragon. Dragon has something like 5000 health. And I don't know, maybe like 20 attack power. Okay, it says, attacks with 565. Honestly, what attacks with like 565? Just static console output. Okay, my name, so monster1.name. It should work, honestly. Okay, actually, let's go with a Control-C copy. That's yeah, indeed a busyism. It just makes it very hard to read. Okay, I see. Okay, let's get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, let me go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something like, let's say, I feel like I messed up ... Okay, honestly, I feel like I did mess up. Let's see what Sensei says. Okay, people, you didn't just mess up. You built a monster battle arena and then left the monsters nameless and soulless. Your constructor monster standard takes in the data but doesn't assign it to the class's actual members. That means every monster you create has no name, 0 health, and no attack power. Because those parameters are floating in limbo, never stored anywhere, okay? To fix it, you must assign them inside the constructor like a real monster tamer, giving life to their creatures. For example, monster. Okay, didn't I do this? I think I did that. I'm pretty sure I added a constructor here, of course, but this will give you technical depth later, so I don't really advise this. Oh, I see. Oh, look at that. Guys, didn't I add a constructor? I'm pretty sure I did. Like, oh, I forgot to fill in my parameters for my constructor. Guys, I think I got distracted. Okay, so let's go with name equals to my n parameter, and then something like health equals to my h parameter, and lastly, attack power equals to my AP parameter, ending with a semicolon. Okay, guys, that was actually a pretty silly mistake. Okay, I'll go with the Control S to save the code, and if I were to run the command, enter a name, I'll go with something like elf. Elf has 300 HP, 25 attack power. Dragon. Dragon has, I don't know, maybe like 5000 HP and let's say 10 attack power. Okay, wait, is this like an infinite loop? I don't think it is. Oh, we were... Okay, the fight was keep going until my dragon didn't... whatchamacallit. Until my dragon wasn't defeated. Better use an initializer list. I've honestly never heard of an initializer list. Actually might check that, but before that, maybe I go with like... Okay, let's go with something like elf and keep like a bit less HP, like 20 HP. And then attack power is going to be 10, and then let's go with something like dragon. Dragon has 30 HP. And then attack power is going to be 5. Okay, Elf attacks dragon with 10 HP, monster health 2. Okay, monster 2, health 20. I mean, I want the user to add an input. Let me actually do that. Does C++ also use underscore conversion for private field variable names? Private field variable names, honestly, is there like a reference of a separate language? Because like I just actually know Python and now C++. That said, let's see. So before I go with monster 1 attack monster 2, monster 1 attacks monster 2, let's go with something like monster 2 dot attack monster 1. Okay, dot attack, okay, parentheses, monster 1. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Now, inside of my attack method, I do want to ask the user for an input. So I don't know, I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'll say something like, okay, attack or, I want to attack monster 1. Maybe I add a parameter here instead of my attack power. Let's add a parameter of damage as well. Okay, this is gonna be an integer. There we go. Okay. Okay, actually, instead of adding a parameter there, let me go ahead and create an integer variable here. So I'll go with something like integer damage ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's just go ahead and delete this part. Monster. Okay, there we go. Target.health. Did I do something wrong? I'm very old with my coding standards like P for parameters, str for string, etc. Oh, I see. Not about C++. Every project has programmers use different conventions. Like I use m underscore prefix, Pascal case. Honestly, I've never heard of Pascal case. That does sound pretty cool though. Code styles differ from repo to repo. Okay, I've never heard of that convection. Busy Slim, how long have you been in field, may I ask? Okay, let's see. So I go with my target. Did I spell target correct? Okay, it was a typo, no wonder. There we go. So target.health minus equals to my damage variable. And then I go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Say something like enter a damage that you want to deal to. Okay, enter a damage that you want to deal to. Enter a damage, I'll just say that. Okay, and then I'll end that with a semicolon. Okay, that said, I'm going to be ending that with a semicolon and then adding a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my damage variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. And then I copy this and I get that under my damage. Once my damage, once my damage variable gets a value. Okay. Okay, if I do that, then that actually removes the use of my attack power. Okay, and then I honestly might not even need an attack power variable. So I'll go ahead and remove attack power. There we go, and even remove my integer of AP and this attack power from here, and this with a semicolon. I know this is a CPP live stream, but is there my fellow Rust devs? Honestly, Rust is actually pretty cool. I heard like people use that for like making AIs. That said, I'm actually pretty excited for like learning Rust someday. I might actually learn after my C++ series. Okay, attack power. Instead of going with attack power, I'll go with something like honestly, should I like globalize my damage variable? Okay, I could like copy this part. Delete it from here and then paste it like all the way here. So integer of damage ending with a semicolon. Okay, I get the value for my damage. Okay, isn't it like public? Oh wait, there we go. Okay, here we go. Let me remove this from my constructor. Okay, instead of going with attack power, I'll go with something like monster 1 attacks monster 2. So I gotta go with something like monster 1 dot damage, okay, and then monster 2 dot damage. Okay, perfect. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let's go with the control as to save the code and run the command. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I've been coding with 20-year-old languages for like 40 years. Okay, been coding with 20-year-old languages for like 40 years. That actually is pretty insane. Okay, so I'll go with a name, something like, I don't know, maybe elf, and then health is going to be something like, I don't know, maybe 2000. Okay, and then next one is going to be a dragon. Dragon has 5000 health. Okay, entry damage, I'll go with something like 1000. Elf attacks dragon with 1000 entry damage, I'll go with something like 3000. Dragon attacks elf with 3000. Okay, monster health negative 100, monster 2 wins. Okay. Although I don't want my monster's health to be less than 0, I did like set it to be equal to 0. Okay, I actually think this does make sense. Let's go with the control A, control C, copy that, git syntax slash ChatGPT here. And that said, guys, I honestly might not stream for that long today because I do have an exam tomorrow. I do gotta like study for that exam. That said, I'll go with a control C to paste. Okay, let's see. People, you fix the soul binding ritual. The constructor right now breathes life into your monster, good, but your arena still has a few structural cracks. Gotta love basics and Z80 assembly. Okay, that'll collapse mid-battle. Let's sharpen them before the monster riots. Okay, first, in your main function, you ask for attack power, input prompt, okay. But your monster constructor only takes name and health. There's no attack power parameter. That's misleading. Okay, I do need to remove attack power from there. Okay, second, inside the loop when monster 2 attacks, you're printing standard console output monster 1 dot health. Okay, that label should say monster 1's health prints since it's printing monster 1 dot health. Oh, I see. Okay, you're announcing the wrong patient to the audience. Like it's like shouting the dragon. Okay, it's like shouting the dragon's head while the orc's the one bleeding. Okay, third, conceptually, forcing the user to input every single attack, breaking the flow of battle. The better design is that each monster already has an attack power passed in the constructor, and the attack method just uses it automatically. So void attack, this makes the battle fast, fierce, and automatic. You've got the structure right. Honestly, I didn't want it to be automatic because like I did want my user to type something. That's it, guys. I've just been streaming for 1 hour and 43 minutes. Although I do need to end the stream really soon because I do gotta like go and I have like a college exam tomorrow. And guys, I can't fail that. Okay, that said, let me say something like, should say, I feel like I should end the stream soon today. Okay, because I have an exam tomorrow. That said, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers before I end the stream? Question mark. Hey, how doing, Brock? I appreciate you joining the stream. Although I am ending the stream really soon today, guys, because I actually am not kind of prepared for tomorrow's exam. I do gotta study like a lot. That said, listen up, chat. Today my pupil has fought well. Okay, I feel like I didn't I didn't have much progress today. That said, you've seen the chaos of constructors, the clash of monsters, and the rise of logic itself. But even the sharpest blade needs to rest before the next battle. Tomorrow this warrior faces an exam, so the arena must fall silent for now. Remember this, everyone watching, discipline is going with what must be done even when no one is watching. Said by Sarah Sensei, guys. I don't know much about the author because I did say Sensei to like actually say the author when she's giving a quotes. That said, I didn't want to plagiarize anything. Okay, about productivity more than anything. Time to get done. Okay, so study, rest, and come back stronger. And you pupil, go crush that exam like a dragon skull under the willpower, and I'll be waiting when you return, ready to forge you. Okay, ready to forge you even sharper. Alright, let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so that was honestly basically pretty much it for this stream. I know I usually like these days stream like for about 2 hours or like 2 hours 40 minutes. That said, I did stream for 1 hour and 40 minutes today because I do have an exam tomorrow. That's it. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like, helps my algorithm, sharing makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And guys, I'm really close to getting my actual PC, and like once I get the PC, I will definitely like film myself making that PC or even either stream myself. Once I do make the PC, that's gonna fix all my lags, so I will be starting to multi-stream again on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, maybe TikTok and Instagram as well if I did meet the followers count. So if you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. The link is in the description. And also Also join the Discord server. You guys can get access to the Discord server by typing !Discord in chat. That said, I'll catch you guys on the next live stream or video. Peace. Done what desktop app